This is a video response to Emurium. I found your site via Scarlet Moon, who I found Ziggy's J2, both who are fabulous, and I love listening to their comments, and their information is great. This is the first YouTube thing I've ever done besides watch, so at 43, it's kind of nice to have some new experiences every so often. So this is my latest new experience. So I hope it goes okay. Um, Let me give you a little bit of background about who I am before I start spewing advice. Um, for 25 years, I've been a teacher. I have almost 2 degrees. In August, I'll have my second degree. One's in science, one's in education. And I have enough units in various assorted other things to actually have a third degree. I have three children. They are 16, 17, almost 18, and 19, almost 20. Um, Single mom, been divorced for 10 years, was married 12. Um, Almost 10 years, married 12. So I've had a lot of experience with kids. I have to say, I find it kind of humorous that you're more worried about your daughter talking about your involvement in witchcraft, as opposed to her being picked on and ridiculed for having and two dads slash two uncles, and not having a mom and dad in the picture. As a teacher, I've dealt with those kinds of situations before. Let me just explain something to you about children. Um, Children can be mean, nasty, and evil. Not all children, some children. The reason those children are mean, nasty, and evil is because that's the behavior that's been modeled to them, and it's a learned response. It really doesn't matter if your daughter has one eye, two eyes, two arms, two legs, two moms, two dads, typical atomic family. Doesn't matter how well grounded she is, there is some obnoxious, horrific child who will be obnoxious and horrific to her sometime in her life. Whether she wears blue shoes or red shoes, those are the kinds of things that just happen. Um, and the reason why is because that child has been taught to be that way, through the examples that their parents have set, or the people in control of her life. And that can be because they actually model that behavior, or because they model other things that puts that child in that position. For example, if the 2-year-old learns that if they throw a kicking, screaming fit, they get something, then they get M&Ms. Then to shut them up, then they think that the way you get M&Ms is to throw a kicking, screaming fit, and then that just grows and develops. So you can't protect your baby from everything. What you can do is teach her to build up her resistance, and build up her walls, and build up her protections, her boundaries, so that those things bounce off a lot easier and a lot quicker. Um, as far as specifically dealing with her issues, or your concerns about her issues within the craft, first let me tell you this. One of the things that you said in your, I have my little notes here, in your video, was that you had no clue what you were doing. Welcome to the club. um, when my oldest son, almost 20, I feel like at this point in time in my life, I need to stop the world, be who exactly I am today, and go back and start all over again. And I could raise my three children the way that they need to be raised, with the guidance and support and everything that they need. I now feel, after almost 20 years of being a parent, I'm qualified to raise my three children. Not anybody else's, and not under any other circumstances that they were raised in, as far as when I was married, when I was divorced, and all of those things, because I know now how to handle those situations. I didn't necessarily know what I was going through, and I don't want the situations to change because I'm not necessarily prepared. I wouldn't be prepared to raise my children if their father had died, instead of me divorcing him. Okay? So nobody really knows what they're doing. We do the best we can. We hope for the best for our children. We give them better than what we think that we had. And we try not to do to them the things that hurt and bothered us. And that's what we do. And that's the best you can do. So just take a deep breath and know that you're doing really, really well. And the fact that you're willing to ask for help is huge. The other thing you can do right now is start preparing your daughter for college. This is what I tell my children. You all have to go to college. You all have to get really good degrees because you need really good jobs so that you have really good benefits so that you can get the psychiatric treatment that you need for my parenting skills. And they laugh about that all the time. But that's the way it goes. Part of becoming an adult is surviving your childhood. All right. The next thing that I wanted to let you know, as far as things with your daughter and the craft and things like, and the questions she asks, always be honest. Always tell her the truth, and always tell her what's appropriate. Ziggy was saying, Jordan was saying, when your 6-year-old comes to you and says how her baby's made, you don't give them all the graphic details. You don't set them in front of Discovery Channel and have them watch all kinds of animal births and do this and that and the other thing. Because probably they just want to make sure that if you swallow a watermelon seed, you don't get pregnant, that a baby's not coming. Okay, so just give them the what they need to know at that time. Um, as far as you're concerned about, if she gets mad and she tries to hex people and things like that, that just goes all the way back to what you're teaching your child. And in your video, you said, I'm teaching her love and respect and unity, and that we care about people, we care about the world, we honor the goddess, we honor the god, and those are all fabulous, wonderful things. And just like you taught her that you don't hit your friends, you don't kick your friends, you don't spit, you don't say mean things, you don't hex people. It's really that simple. Now, granted, she's a little bit young for that, but when she's watching TV and she sees the witches and Snow White, and she sees these kinds of things, you take that time and dialogue with her and say, you know what? First and foremost, there are mean people in this world, but you're not one of them. I'm not one of them. There's a very few people that are that mean in the world. And we're probably going to be really, really lucky in our life that we never meet anybody that mean. How many times have you met somebody who was like Hitler? Never. Okay? But Hitler still existed. And those are the kinds of things that you need to tell her. You need to make her feel safe in her environment, understand that, sure, there's some bad things out there, but bad things don't happen to us every day. Okay? And bad people aren't lurking in the shadows waiting to jump out at us. So, if she comes home and she's mad, somebody was mean to her, somebody picked on her, do that apple trick that you were telling us about. Have her project it into there and explain to her that people who are that mean are usually that mean because they're that hurt. And use that kind of stuff for her. She's going to be fine. You're going to be fine. You guys are going to do a great job. You're going to raise a wonderful, beautiful daughter who's going to grow up and have a fabulous heart, who is going to change the world on her own level and make the world a better place. And why? Because she's got 2 really good dads who really care and really love about her. I love her and care about her. And that's more than any of us can ask for. So I hope this helps. Good luck to you. And thanks for being my first. Bye.